Hello YouTube, I'm David with the David West channel. Let's practice 4 different fire making techniques. How to process wood and turn it into a log cabin fire lay. How to ignite that log cabin with a bow drill friction fire. How to cook up some char cloth and then try it out. And then after that we'll collect the ashes up and we'll try them out with the fire roll technique. I'm using the Corona razor tooth saw, $25 on Amazon. It's a great saw. I have a silky gomboy, but I've gotten it dull, and this saw is a little bit dull also. Very uneven cut right here. It's off by about 3/4 of an inch. So we'll come down here about 4 inches and go another inch for 5 inches. Of course, you'll want to pick the clearest wood. The reason I didn't cut it off of this end is because you see you have some gnarled up grain right there, and this was a lot more clear. All right, the arbor knot consists of a stop knot, and then tie this end around this lead so you can have a slip knot. I've always called these Canadian hitches, but that is not the popular name for it. So when I put the log through there and tighten it up, this stop knot will slip up against that knot and you'll be able to cinch it down good and tight. Now, let's see if we can baton this up into 32 pieces. That'd be 16 splits this way, and then I'll cut those in half. Now, usually you don't get 32, but if you're going for 32, you'll probably end up with at least 25, and that'll be plenty to make our log cabin. This is my dogwood baton. It is very hard and very heavy, and I'll be using this Mora Companion stainless heavy duty. The blade on this Mora is only 4 inches long, but this wood has been splitting very easily, so I do not anticipate my knife getting stuck. Let's go ahead and make use of this crack right here. Let's see how many pieces we ended up with. All right, 21 full pieces, and let me get these smaller pieces. So 22 full pieces and a handful of broken pieces. Let's make our log cabin fire lay now. All right, let's put the string back on my bow. And I like to leave 2.5 inches of slack. Let me show you what that means. When I get this tight, I'll pull my thumb back about 2.5 inches, and that's about right for like a 3/4 inch spindle. And we'll be reusing the pine set that we used yesterday, the wet pine set. Let's see if we got the string about right. That's about right. 2.5 inches. Alright, it's easier to make a log cabin if you put together like thicknesses of logs in pairs like those two. And here's 2 thick pieces. You start off with these 3 for the bottom. Just come on up with it. Be the roof. How about that? Make little hard balls of these pine needles and stick them down in there. Let's do a walk around of the log cabin. Got a little bit of space in the top to receive my tinder bundle. And I saw some voids down here in the bottom, so I stuck a few more pine needles in those voids. So let's go ahead and do our bow drill. Here is some denim. Let's go ahead and cut it and tear it. Put it in there as loosely as we can. Because I want those gases to be able to escape as easily as possible through that vent hole. So that's all ready. Now we need some fire. Did you see yesterday's video where we got that pine off the landscape and it was so wet, but still we was able to use the dry parts to make this set to successfully make bow drill friction fire. So it should be a little bit drier today. Let's see if it can produce for us. I think it will. Pine on pine, pine needles tinder bundle, and some pine needles dust and powder that came out of the processing of those pine needles, and a fat wood bearing block. Well, I tried it 3 more times and could not get an ember. So let's go ahead and fire roll that failed dust. Oh, we're gonna get everything fired up. You watch and see. I promise you that. Now, we finally got it fired up. Let's mow the grass. Alright, when the smoke and the flames stop coming out of that vent hole, the char cloth will be made. There's nothing else coming out of there. Now, we'll let that cool off. And then try out that char cloth. We'll take a good close look at it also. Before I run out of power on my phone, and before the sky lets loose and I get rained out, let's go ahead and finish this up. There's still some coals in those ashes. Let's sift the ashes out, collect the ashes, try them out for fire roll, and then we'll take a look at the char cloth. They feel a little more coarse than usual. That was some kind of oak that we made these ashes out of, but they should still perform nicely. just fine, don't they? Let me get some pine needles. All right. What's the char cloth look like? Here's our 2 strips. They feel good. They have a little bit of smoke residue on them. They should be reactive, just like they are. Let's prove that. There's a piece off of this one and a piece off of this one. Like to tear it in half, try to expose these threads, put a 1/16 of an inch behind the sharp edge on the shirts. Get my striker, get my steel, which I made out of a Nicholson file, and go for it. Oh, it was already ignited up here on the corner. Same thing on this one. We already proved in a recent video that trying to use these existing frays that have smoke residue on them is not as good as using these fibers and these frays here. Ah, went to flames. I'm going to use a different part of my shirt, see if I can get some better sparks. Yeah, I can. Alright y'all, do me a favor. Before you leave my channel, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and in that drop down list, select all. And do give the video a like. I appreciate you joining me on this one. We'll catch you on the next one.